Ooh, it's a lot of stuff to take into account. So, y'all enjoy the first minute and 30 seconds. IG, the rest of it's gonna be on the YouTube. Um, so the kick on this is this stuff is physics. It's not anything magical about it whatsoever. But LS is a small motor. I don't care what you put together. It's a small motor. Four stuff, 480, 416. It's all small stuff. It is. It's bigger than 350 and all that stuff. But anytime that you take something of that smaller caliber. Let's just use something. We're gonna use square numbers. We take a 6.0 combo I put together. My stage 2 cam, 706 head should make about 500. So let's say you want to make 1,000 on this thing, dude. Okay, cool. So you go get this 1,000 horsepower turbo. Okay. Um. So now you trying to make 1,000. Well, you need to make 14, 7, 15, 16 pounds of boost. What RPM do you think it's gonna make that at? Okay. But this cam, it's gonna start because we got a street setup. This is not a all full out race deal. So we have a cam that's gonna start working, really well around 2,500, 3,000. And that RPM range, we're gonna try to check it up around about 65. We're gonna try to let this thing live. So it's like this thing is not gonna build that type of boost, until five ish, like 5,000 ish. You know what I'm saying? I might can get into the fives, maybe tens, somewhere around in the 35s, maybe 4,000, somewhere in that ballpark, But it's like if I'm driving around from light to light, dude, this thing is gonna be a turd. This thing creates a restriction. I tell people all the time. I was at my humble house. He's like, all right, man. My neighbors ain't used to all this. I was like, nah, man. This car is quiet until it starts to get on boost, and it's like it's a muffler. It's a restriction. So when you go to pull out turbo lag, it is a turd. Compared to if you built something like once again the LS is smaller. If you built the LS and now let's say, hey, you got an 800 horsepower, turbo. Well, we still got the same cam. Cool. It's going to spool a lot faster. It might be fun on the street. We might not need to get on the two step and actually build boost before we take off on it for it not to be a turd. The other thing with that is with this little motor and this really big turbo, it comes on really, really hard. The turbo comes in really, really hard. It's sweeping through the RPM range really fast, up there in the numbers, and the boost is coming in really, really hard. It makes it a handful to drive on the street. It really does. If you want to feel any power. It's a lot of that stuff that people don't take into. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. The other part of that is it's like, man, a lot of people talk about 12, 13, 14, 1,500 horsepower like it's 4 and 5. I'm thinking, you got bigger fish to fry, man. You got a lot bigger fish to fry at 14, 1,500 horsepower. Rather than just putting something together to making it. Once again, let me put this out here. If anybody has 6.2 blocks that they're concerned about, oh, it's gonna make the power, it's gonna split. Come on, bring them to me. I'll take them. I'll trade you out all your 6.2 blocks for iron 6.0s. I just feel like it's a non. I feel like it's a non-builder situation. I feel like it's a non-racer situation. There is absolutely positively no way I want to put an extra 200 pounds on the nose of a race car. It's not logical, dude. It's not. For that cubic inch, no. At that cubic inch, I go get a big block. It weighs the exact same. You can't make that make sense. You cannot make it make sense. So if you got 6.2 blocks you don't want, bring them to me. I'll swap you out for 6.0 blocks any day of the week. Yeah, I'm your guy. I will swap that out for any day of the week. Oh, they're gonna split. Well, how many have you split? Like literally, dude. How many iron blocks you think has been split? Way more than aluminum blocks. You know, usually it comes from a bad tune of parts coming apart. Yes, that's usually what gets a block. Not because, oh, it's an aluminum block, it's weaker. Should the aluminum block have more flex in it? Yes, it will. Do I think it could go through bearings faster? I do. That's the physics side of it. But to say, hey, at this RPM it's gonna split, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. This is a guy who made 1,000 on nitrous with a 5.7. You know, so I don't. Once again, at a situation of 1,500 people are asking about the block, there is just people take ignorance for a bad word. It's just a lack of knowledge. So it's a big lack of knowledge. So I'm gonna try to give you some free game in under 10 minutes or so. So stroker, LS piston. Okay. This is why I laugh when people start saying, "Oh, the block's gonna split at 1,500. It's gonna split at 1,500." Okay, what about this thin ass ring, dude? Do you think this thin ass ring wants to see 1,500 horsepower? Like, the wrist pin is in the oil and groove for this piston. Do you think this ring wants to see 1,500 horsepower? Do you see how thin this is here on this wrist pin when you're turning these RPM and this wrist pin is trying to be snatched out the back of this piston? Do you think it wants to see 1,500 horsepower? Okay? This situation here will fail before the block fails. This is way thinner than the block. This is the stuff that people who are not real builders, this is when they start talking about blocks. They're not real builders. They don't understand that stuff. This is what kills motors and possibly kills blocks. The rotating assembly does not stay together and the block just comes apart. The rotating assembly breaks and it splits the block after that, okay? So you got to start with your rotating assembly, okay? This is not my first choice to try to make 1,500 plus horsepower on. This ring gland is way too small. This wrist pan is way too far into this oil and groove. This motor under boost is not going to be happy. This motor on spray, a lot of PSI in the cylinder is going to start to wipe the oil off of the piston as it's going up and down. Because you have to put gap in these things, dude, or you're going to take the top off of it. Just for instance, here we go. A very, very good nitrous piston, okay? Big block stuff. Do you see how thick this is? Do you see how thick this is? We have our oil in here, good space, wrist pin, and some height. This goes all the way across. This is all thick in here, okay? LS stuff. It does go across, but it gets thin right here. Alright, all that has to be there for clearance also. So the same thing on the skirts. The skirts are short. They come further out of the piston. That's what ends up helping you to snatch this wrist pin out. Okay, so this is a lot better piston for nitrous and for boost just because of the ring setup on it and also on the oil. This piston will last a lot longer than this one here. Nobody will tell you. I'm not gonna say that because they would tell you that. Nobody can dispute that. That's just experience, man. That's experience. Engine building explained. It's more stuff to look into besides the material of the block. It is almost at this point in time the least of my concerns, dude. Oh, it's not gonna do. It's like, dude, it runs for 300,000 miles. Like, you don't think it's durable? Like, come on, man. Um, it's I don't know, certain stuff. I just almost laugh at it this time. So it would be way more important stuff I would be worried about, especially racing wise, and that would be putting 200 pounds of weight on the front of a car, and I'm trying to, transfer weight.